What's up guys, T-Who's here to talk to you about effect negation. Now in recent years, many decks have been built to abuse effects which help you reach a win condition, very powerful effects. So obviously many players have started to put cards in that disrupt these effects, and I'm going to go over a few of these to weigh up the pros and cons of each of them. Now the most popular effect negation card at the moment is Breakthrough Skill, and the reason for that is it can be used twice, once when it's flipped up, and once from the graveyard to stop a continuous effect in your turn, or a quick effect like say Midrash or Artifact. So it is very, very good because of that. Also it's still useful if it gets like Space Typhoon, because you can still use the graveyard effect, and the graveyard effect itself is very difficult to respond to because most trap negating cards negate the activation of a card, but this isn't the activation, this is the effect. So a lot of things like Lagia or Light and Darkness Dragon or Wiretap can't actually respond to it from the graveyard, so it's very difficult to respond to. But the initial flip up, there is a lot of trap negation about, like Wiretap, Trapstone, 7 tools in some decks, so it does mean it can get negated fairly easily, and it has to be set before it's used, which is a problem because it's trap. Another card that shares a trap problem is the Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain was popular a while ago when Karakuris were incredibly popular, because as well as being able to stop an effect, it stops an attack. So if, say, your opponent summons a big boss monster like Dark Arm Dragon, that's 200 attack, which is a lot of attack. So a Fiendish Chain to that can stop you losing life points so quickly, which is nice. Also, it continuously negates the effect of the monster it's used against. So if it's got a continuous effect or multiple ignition effects, and you stop it as long as Fiendish Chain's on the field, which is also very nice. It gives you time to deal with it. But the problem is it can easily clog your back row, because it only removes itself from the field if it's destroyed or the monster it's used on is destroyed. If the monster is used as Xyz material or synchro material or is tributed or something like that, Fiendish Chain stays and it uses up a back row, which is kind of a problem. But some decks have used this by reusing it with like Mist Valley Falcon or Zephyros, something like that. Also, it's probably the easiest effect negation to stop, because not only is there trap negation around, there's also things like MST which can be trained to it, or use a Book of Moon on the target which flips it down so it's no longer face up on the field, so the effect goes through. So yeah, not ideal at the minute. Very popular for a long time was Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is good because it can be used on your opponent's first turn if your opponent goes first. So say in the Insecta format, the Wind Up Loop format. The Wind Up Loop, basically the two cards you need to draw to stop losing massive amounts of advantage on the first turn was either Effect Veiler or Maxi. So if you had an Effect Veiler, you could just negate one of the effects and it'd stop the loop and you wouldn't have any more cards to loop, which is very, very good. But the problem with it is it can only be used in your opponent's main phase, so using it against quick effects in your turn is not able to do it. Plus if something gets summoned in your battle phase or your opponent's battle phase, basically your opponent can play around it by not activating the effect of a monster in the main phase. So like artifacts, for instance, summon in your main phase so you can't fail them, which is not very useful at the minute. A card that often gets overlooked for fairly obvious reasons is Forbidden Chalice. Now Forbidden Chalice is different to the other effect negation I've been talking about because it's a quick play spell, and at first glance it doesn't seem to be very good because its effect is your target one monster on the field, it gains 400 attack, but its effects are negated. So obviously making your opponent's monsters gain 400 attack makes it easier to beat over your monsters, which isn't very wise. Plus it puts your life points in a lot more danger. But it's quite good because the way it's worded, it can be used in damage step against flip effects, so like Gear Armor. If you flip it up and you don't want this effect to go through, you can just chalice it. Also Shadows. Shadows are going to be hitting the TCG soon, so their flip effect can be stopped by Chalice. Yeah, it's generally probably the most versatile negation card out there because it can be used in more phases, and it can be used direct from your hand, unlike Breakthrough Skill and Chain. So say your opponent summons an artifact in your turn, you can just chain from hand Forbidden Chalice, and although you won't probably be able to beat over that artifact, at least it doesn't get its effect off, which is nice. And yeah, it's a spell, which helps because there's not a lot of spell negation about the minute, apart from Naturi Beast and Raccoons. But other than that, there's not really that much spell negation about, so it's going to go through a lot more easily, and you can use it to boost your monsters up if you need to. So it's fairly versatile, but often overlooked, so there isn't really a best negation card of all time, because each of them have their pros and cons. It really depends on the format. So if there's a lot of back row destruction about Phoenix Chains, obviously not going to be very good, or Breakthrough is going to be better even. If there's a lot of cards being used in your turn rather than your opponent's, then Veil is going to be useless, so you don't want to use that. So it really does depend on the format. So I hope this helps when it comes to deciding what effect negation card is best for you. These are just a sample of 4. There's a lot more like skill drain, but I just wanted to get the most generic effect negators out there so you can have a look and see which one fits your deck best, or the format best. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video guys, and if you did, please like, favourite, comment and subscribe. I'll see you later.